Hello, I'm Sarah Edwards and I'm the Executive Director of the Just Money movement. We're an ecumenical charity working across the churches in the UK to help individuals and congregations to connect faith and finance to help build a fairer, greener future for everyone. I'm passionate about equipping churches and individual Christians to think about money and finance and the economy as part of our faith and how we can use that knowledge to help tackle some of the big challenges of economic injustice and the planetary crisis that are facing us today. So there are lots of ways in which justice is relevant to finance and to the economy. And our foundational verse as a charity is Micah chapter 6 verse 8. And so in talking about acting justly, loving mercy and walking humbly with God, how does that relate then to our own faith as individuals in the churches that we lead? How can we speak, how can we live out with integrity and in a whole life mission, whole life discipleship and authentically our relationship to money ourselves, and how we then speak out about the way that money is used in the wider society, because we see lots of justice issues that are related to finance in the world around us, don't we? There are extremes of poverty and wealth, and we have an economic model that is harming our planet and is harming many people and places. But there are things to be joyful about as well. We live in a world that is created by God. Everything ultimately belongs to God. Everyone is made in the image of God, and we're called to be good stewards of creation. So money can be used for good, for God's joyful purposes. And we believe that we are in a world that is being redeemed, and so there are patterns when we look at the teachings of Jesus, when we look at the Old Testament teachings about Sabbath and Jubilee, or the example of the early church or church history. We have lots of ethical tradition and teaching to draw on to give us a hope and a joy about our relationship to money. So what could the clergy of Gloucester Diocese be thinking about or engaging with in this whole area of justice and finance? First of all, you could be thinking about your congregation's money and the institutional church's money at parish level, at diocese level perhaps. What could be a kingdom approach to thinking about banking, to thinking about investing, pensions or spending choices? At the Just Money movement, we have lots of ideas and campaigns and resources to help you think about this. Just to mention a couple, we have a platform called the Big Bank Switch in partnership with Operation Noah and Just Love, where you can, as an individual, switch to a more ethical bank account. And we also have our flagship publication, the Greener, Fairer Banking Guide for Churches, which enables you to think through the same issues from a church institutional perspective about how you might change your bank account. When it comes to having integrity and seeking justice with our investing as churches, what are our values and ethics that can guide us? Well, again, although we can't provide financial advice, we have lots of signposting, lots of resources to help you think through how you might want to avoid certain things that you don't want to invest in, engage with others, and maybe embrace some that you really want to invest in. And then there's pensions. So, of course, there's the Church of England Pensions Board, which invests money from the pensions of clergy. There are also the pensions of many of your congregation. The pensions industry in the UK adds up to about £3 trillion. So it's huge amounts of money. What is it invested in? Is it in line with our ethics, with our values? What can we find out about it? And then also spending. How can we spend as churches in ways that are just and fair? We have an ethical buying guide and template procurement policy for you to think about that as a church, as well as teaching and thinking about that with your congregation too. As well as showing integrity and seeking justice with our own and our church's money, we want to help Christians and churches to speak out about the way that money is used in society, for speaking out for financial justice. And we have campaigns on a fairer tax system and taxing wealth more fairly and equitably, campaigns for banks to stop financing fossil fuel investment, and for government to take more action to tackle financial exclusion. So finance is part of how we can live out our faith, how we can seek God's kingdom, and I just encourage you to look into it, find out more about how you can seek a more just and joyful approach to the financial system.